Ever looked at a motorcycle and thought, that's just not weird enough for me? Well, buckle up, because we're about to take you on a ride through the absolute strangest two-wheelers, three-wheelers, and whatever wheelers that engineers with too much imagination have unleashed upon this world. These aren't your typical Harleys or Hondas. Oh no, we're talking about bikes with airplane engines, wheels inside wheels, and designs that make you question the very laws of physics. Today, we're counting down the 20 most bizarre motorcycles ever built, and trust me, by the time we hit number 1, you'll be questioning everything you thought you knew about what a motorcycle could be. So hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's dive into this mechanical madness. Number 20, Boss Hoss 5 8 Chopper. Picture this, you're at a biker rally, everyone's showing off their Harleys, and then someone rolls up on a motorcycle powered by a Chevrolet V8 engine. That's the Boss Hoss. This thing doesn't just turn heads, it snaps necks. We're talking about a 5.7-liter car engine strapped to 2 wheels, the same engine you'd find in a Corvette, on a motorcycle. The Boss Hoss weighs over 1,100 pounds. That's heavier than some small cars. It produces around 350 horsepower, which is absolutely insane for something you're supposed to balance on 2 wheels. The company started building these monsters back in 1990, and they're still at it today. Why? Because apparently, there's a market for people who think regular motorcycles are for wimps. The transmission is automatic because, let's be honest, trying to shift gears on this beast while keeping it upright would be like trying to juggle chainsaws while riding a bull. Riders describe the experience as less like riding a motorcycle and more like steering a rocket-powered couch. The fuel consumption is about as subtle as the bike itself, averaging around 12 miles per gallon on a good day. But hey, if you're buying a motorcycle with a car engine, fuel economy probably isn't your top priority. Number 19, Neiman Marcus Fighter. Only 45 of these titanium beauties were ever made, and at $110,000 each, they weren't exactly flying off the shelves. The Fighter was designed by Confederate Motorcycles, and when I say designed, I mean they threw every conventional motorcycle rule out the window and started from scratch. The entire frame is carved from aircraft-grade titanium, not welded. Carved, like a sculpture. The engine sits at a 45-degree angle, completely exposed, because why hide something that gorgeous? It's a 2-liter V-twin that produces 120 horsepower. The exhaust pipes snake around the bike like metal tentacles. There's no plastic anywhere on this thing. It's all metal, carbon fiber, and pure attitude. The headlight looks like it was stolen from a stealthed bomber. The fuel tank is integrated into the frame itself, making the whole bike look like one continuous piece of mechanical art. Neiman Marcus sold these in their Christmas catalog back in 2009. Yes, their Christmas catalog. Because nothing says happy holidays like a 6-figure motorcycle that looks like it came from another dimension. The waiting list was years long, and owners reportedly treat them more like sculptures than vehicles. Most have never even been ridden in the rain. Number 18, Vyrus 987 C34. Vir. Italian motorcycles are known for being exotic, but the Vyrus takes it to another level entirely. This thing doesn't have traditional forks. Instead, it uses something called hub center steering, which makes it look like an alien tried to redesign a motorcycle after only seeing one picture of a regular bike. The entire front end is a complex system of linkages and arms that would make a mechanical engineer weep with joy, or confusion. Maybe both. It's powered by a Ducati engine, but that's where the normalcy ends. The Vyrus weighs just 330 pounds but produces 170 horsepower. That power-to-weight ratio is absolutely mental. The company only makes about 20 bikes per year, each one hand-built in Coriano, Italy. The price? Around 70,000 euros. The riding position is so aggressive that you basically have to be a contortionist to ride it comfortably. But comfort isn't the point. This is a bike for people who want to own something that looks like it was designed by someone who'd never seen a conventional motorcycle but had a PhD in aerospace engineering. The brake lines are routed through the swing arm. The radiator is mounted under the seat. Everything about this bike screams different for the sake of being different, and somehow it actually works. Number 17, Tron Light Cycle Replica. Someone looked at the movie Tron and thought, I need that in my garage. So they built it. The Tron Light Cycle replica isn't just inspired by the movie, it's an exact recreation that somehow actually functions on real roads. The riding position is completely horizontal, you don't sit on this bike, you lie down on it, your feet go behind you, your arms stretch forward, and you basically become part of the machine. It's powered by a Suzuki engine because even fantasy bikes need real-world reliability. The body is made from fiberglass and carbon fiber, with electroluminescent strips that actually light up just like in the movie. The wheels are covered with custom hubcaps that make them look like solid discs of light. Turning requires you to lean your entire body, and stopping quickly is, well, let's just say it's an adventure. The builder, Parker Brothers Choppers, made several of these, and they sold for around $55,000 each. Riding one in traffic is supposedly terrifying because you're so low that cars can't see you, and your field of vision is limited to, basically, straight ahead. But when you pull up to a comic convention or tech meetup, you become an instant legend. Several police departments have reportedly pulled these over just to take pictures. Number 16. Honda NM4. Honda decided to build a motorcycle that looks like it escaped from an anime, and they actually put it into production. The NM4, also known as the Voltus, is what happens when motorcycle designers watch too much Ghost in the Shell. The riding position is feet forward like you're sitting in a recliner, a really fast two-wheeled recliner. The front fairing extends so far forward it looks like the bike is permanently doing a wheelie, even when it's standing still. The seat is more like a backrest, and the handlebars are positioned so low you're basically steering from your lap. It's powered by a 745cc engine from the Honda NC750, which is about the only normal thing on this bike. The storage compartment where the fuel tank should be can fit a full face helmet. The actual fuel tank is under the seat because Honda apparently hired MC Escher as a design consultant. Production ran from 2014 to 2016 before Honda quietly admitted that maybe the world wasn't ready for anime motorcycles. Owners say it's surprisingly comfortable for long rides, but parking it is a nightmare because it's over 8 feet long. The turning radius is about as graceful as a cruise ship, but when you're riding something that looks like it should be piloted by a cyborg, practicality isn't really the point. Number 15. Ner-A-Car. Going back to 1921, the Ner-A-Car proves that weird motorcycles aren't a modern invention. This thing looks like someone tried to build a motorcycle but had only ever seen a description of one written by someone who was very drunk. The name is a pun. Ner-A-Car. Get it? Because it's nearly a car, but not quite. The frame is made from pressed steel that forms a tunnel where your legs go. The front wheel steers using a system that's more like a car than a motorcycle, with the wheel turning on a kingpin. It had a friction drive transmission, which basically means a disc pressed against the rear wheel to make it go. No chain, no belt, just friction. Physics teachers love this thing. The engine was initially a 221cc two-stroke that produced a whopping 2.5 horsepower. Later models got bigger engines, but bigger is relative. We're still talking about something with less power than a modern electric bicycle. Around 16,500 were sold in the US, which is shocking considering it looked like a motorized filing cabinet. The riding position was surprisingly comfortable, and it was marketed to people who wanted a motorcycle, but were scared of actual motorcycles. It could carry groceries, stay upright at low speeds, and keep your clothes clean. Basically, it was everything a motorcycle shouldn't be, which somehow made it perfect for its time. Number 14. Rokon Trail-Breaker. The Rokon looks wrong. Two-wheel drive motorcycles shouldn't exist, but nobody told Rokon that. Both wheels are powered, and both wheels are hollow. Yes, hollow. You can fill them with water for extra weight or fuel for extra range, or just leave them empty and use them as flotation devices. This thing will literally float across a river. It's been in production since 1963, and it hasn't changed much, because when you've built something this weird and it works, why mess with it? The engine is a Kohler single cylinder that makes about 7 horsepower. 7. Your lawnmower might have more power. But the Rokon will climb a 45-degree slope while your lawnmower is still stuck in the garage. The transmission is a 3-speed with an automatic clutch, and it'll do about 35 miles per hour flat out. But speed isn't the point. This thing will go places that would make a mountain goat nervous. Farmers love them. Hunters love them. The military has used them. They're virtually indestructible and stupidly simple to maintain. The hollow wheels mean you're basically riding on two giant drums, which makes for an interesting sound as you bounce over rocks. There's no suspension except for the giant tires themselves, so riding one is like being on a mechanical bull that's also trying to climb a mountain. Number 13. Lazareth LM847. Take a Maserati, Fief 8 engine, strap it to a motorcycle frame, add 4 wheels because 2 wheels can't handle 470 horsepower. That's the Lazareth LM847. This French monstrosity makes about as much sense as a chocolate teapot, but it exists and it's glorious. The engine is a 4.7-liter V8 that sounds like thunder having an argument with an earthquake. It weighs 880 pounds, which is actually lighter than you'd expect for something with a car engine and 4 wheels. The wheels themselves tilt when you lean, so it still handles like a motorcycle. Sort of. If motorcycles were designed by someone who thought subtlety was a type of fish, Lazareth only built a handful of these, and each one costs around 200,000 euros. The exhaust pipes exit right below the seat, presumably to ensure the rider never forgets they're sitting on 470 horsepower of barely controlled chaos. Starting it up supposedly sets off car alarms in a 3-block radius. The fuel tank holds 17 liters, which at full throttle lasts about 15 minutes. But those 15 minutes are apparently worth the price of a house. The builder, Ludovic Lazareth, called it a rolling sculpture, which is French for "I've completely lost my mind and I'm taking you all with me." Number 12. Steampunk Scooter Bike. Someone decided motorcycles needed more brass, more gears, and definitely more unnecessary Victorian aesthetics. Enter the steampunk motorcycle, where a function takes a backseat to form, and form is wearing a top hat and monocle. These aren't production bikes. They're usually custom builds by artists who think Mad Max didn't go far enough. One famous example includes 17 Fender guitars built into the frame. Because why not? The brass work alone on these bikes can take 6 months to complete. Every pipe, valve, and gauge is chosen for maximum Victorian industrial aesthetic. Some builders add fake boilers, pressure gauges that don't measure anything, and copper pipes that serve no purpose except to look like they escaped from Captain Nemo's submarine. The engines are usually modern Harleys or Indians hidden under so much brass and copper that you'd never know. Riding one is apparently like piloting a time machine that only goes forward and can't actually travel through time. The weight from all the decorative metal can add 200 pounds to the base bike. Maintenance is a nightmare because half the engine is hidden behind decorative plates that require a degree in archaeology to remove. But when you roll up to a steampunk convention, you're basically royalty. These bikes sell for anywhere from $30,000 to over $100,000, depending on how much unnecessary brass the builder managed to attach. Number 11. Whitlock Stacked Multi-Engine Bike. Simon Whitlock looked at motorcycles and thought, you know what these need? More engines. So he built a bike with 16 chainsaw engines. 16. All working together to create one of the most ridiculous motorcycles ever conceived. Each engine is a 25cc chainsaw motor. Together they produce about 20 horsepower, which isn't much, but the sound is apparently like being inside a beehive that's learned to sing death metal. The engines are arranged in 4 banks of 4, all connected to a common crankshaft through an incredibly complex system of gears and chains. Starting it requires pull-starting each engine individually, which takes about 10 minutes and probably a degree in mechanical engineering. The whole thing weighs over 300 pounds and is about as reliable as a chocolate fire guard, but reliability wasn't the point. Whitlock built it because he could. The cooling system is non-existent, so rides are limited to about 20 minutes before something overheats. The vibration is so intense that riders report losing feeling in their hands after 5 minutes. The fuel system feeds 16 separate carburetors, each one requiring individual tuning. It's displayed at motorcycle shows where people stare at it trying to figure out if it's genius or insanity. The answer is yes. Number 10. Predator Bike. Custom Hayabusa. Someone took a Suzuki Hayabusa, one of the fastest production motorcycles ever made, and decided it needed to look like it was designed by H.R. Giger after a particularly disturbing dream. The Predator Bike is what happens when motorcycle customization goes completely off the rails and into another dimension. The bodywork is hand-sculpted to look like biomechanical armor. Every surface has been redesigned to look organic yet mechanical, like the bike is somehow alive and made of metal at the same time. The airbrush work alone took 300 hours. The paint job includes actual silver leaf and color-shifting pigments that make the bike look different from every angle. The exhaust has been modified to sound less like a motorcycle and more like an angry alien. The seat is sculpted to look like exposed vertebrae. The handlebars resemble alien claws. Even the wheels have been customized with designs that look like they're from another planet. It still has the Hayabusa's 1300cc engine producing around 200 horsepower because even alien motorcycles need to be fast. The builder spent 2 years on this project and the final cost was over $150,000. Riding it reportedly draws crowds everywhere it goes, with people genuinely unsure if it's a movie prop or an actual functioning motorcycle. The answer is both. It's fully functional, but looks like it should be chasing someone through a dystopian wasteland. Number 9, TMC Dumont Brazil decided to enter the weird motorcycle game, and they didn't hold back. The TMC Dumont has 36-inch wheels with no visible hubs. The wheels look like they're floating, held in place by magic or possibly Brazilian engineering, which might be the same thing. It's powered by a Rolls-Royce Continental aircraft engine. Yes, an aircraft engine. Because apparently regular motorcycle engines are for people who lack imagination. The bike is over 10 feet long and weighs nearly 700 pounds. The hubless wheels use a complex system of bearings and rollers that would make a Swiss watchmaker jealous. The brake discs are mounted on the inside of the wheel rims with the calipers fixed to the swing arm and fork. It's engineering that shouldn't work, but it does. The builder, Tarso Marcus, spent 4 years developing this thing. Each wheel reportedly costs more than most complete motorcycles. The riding position is stretched out like you're lying on a therapist's couch if the couch was doing 90 miles per hour. Starting the aircraft engine requires a specific procedure that takes several minutes and sounds like you're preparing for takeoff, which, considering the engine's origin, makes sense. Only a handful exist, and seeing one in person is like spotting a unicorn, a very loud, mechanically complex unicorn that runs on high-octane fuel. Number 8, Johammer J1. Austria looked at electric motorcycles and said, these aren't weird enough. So they created the Johammer J1, which looks like what would happen if a beetle mated with a motorcycle and their offspring was raised by robots. This thing doesn't have a dashboard. It has mirrors with integrated displays. The information appears in the mirrors like some kind of augmented reality system from 2050. The battery pack gives it a range of 125 miles, which is impressive for something that looks like it escaped from a Tim Burton movie. The design philosophy was apparently make it look nothing like any motorcycle ever made. Mission accomplished. The body is one seamless shell that covers everything except the wheels. There's no visible frame, engine, or really anything that identifies it as a motorcycle except for the fact that it has 2 wheels and handlebars. It weighs 550 pounds, all battery, and produces 16 horsepower. That's not much, but it'll do 65 miles per hour silently while looking like something from another planet. The price? 25,000 euros. For that, you get a motorcycle that makes everyone who sees it question reality. The company hand builds each one in Bad Leonfelden, Austria, where they've apparently been putting something interesting in the water. Owners report that it's surprisingly practical if you can get over looking like you're riding an escaped appliance from the future. Number 7, Suzuki Biplane. Concept: Suzuki designers were apparently asked to create a motorcycle inspired by aviation, and they took that literally. The biplane concept looks like someone shrunk a World War I fighter plane and put wheels on it. The bodywork is designed to look like fabric-covered wings. The whole thing is painted in military olive with invasion stripes. The front forks are hidden behind what looks like a propeller spinner. The engine is a V-twin that's completely exposed, like the radial engines on old aircraft. Even the instruments are styled like vintage airplane gauges. The riding position puts you in a cockpit-like environment, complete with a windscreen that looks like it belongs on a Sopwith camel. The exhaust pipes exit from the sides like machine gun barrels. It's powered by a 1000cc V-twin, but performance specs were never released because this was about form, not function. Suzuki showed it at the Tokyo Motor Show in 2003, and people are still trying to figure out if it was brilliant or insane. The leather seat is stitched to look like vintage aircraft upholstery. The fuel tank is shaped like an aircraft fuselage. Even the wheels have covers designed to look like vintage airplane wheels. It never went into production, probably because Suzuki's accounting department took one look at the production costs and immediately had a collective heart attack, but as a concept, it proved that motorcycle design doesn't have to make sense to be memorable. Number 6, Hubless Harley-Davidson concept. Someone looked at a Harley-Davidson and thought, You know what this needs? No wheel hubs. The hubless Harley concept is what happens when traditional American motorcycle design meets science fiction, and science fiction wins. The wheels appear to float in space, held in place by a rim-mounted bearing system that defies visual logic. Looking at it makes your brain hurt as it tries to figure out how the wheels are attached. The drive system uses a friction drive on the rim itself, completely eliminating the need for a chain or belt. The brake discs are integrated into the wheel rim with fixed calipers mounted to what would normally be the swing arm and forks. It's engineering that looks impossible, but technically works. The visual effect is stunning. The wheels look like portals to another dimension. LED lights integrated into the rims make them glow at night, adding to the otherworldly appearance. The builder, Howard Sofield, spent 2 years figuring out the mechanics. The bearings alone cost more than most complete motorcycles. Each wheel weighs over 60 pounds, which is 3 times heavier than conventional wheels. But weight wasn't the point. This was about pushing the boundaries of what a motorcycle could look like. The frame is custom built to accommodate the unique wheel mounting system. Even the kickstand had to be redesigned because normal physics don't apply to this bike. When it's parked, people walk around it in circles trying to understand how it doesn't just fall apart. Number 5, Yamaha. Niken. Yamaha looked at motorcycles and said, what if we add another front wheel? The Niken is their answer to a question nobody asked, and it's simultaneously brilliant and bizarre. 2 front wheels that lean with the bike, giving you twice the front end grip, but also twice the confusion when people see it coming. It uses Yamaha's leaning multi-wheel technology, which sounds made up, but is actually a complex system of parallelogram linkages that allow both front wheels to lean up to 45 degrees. The engineering is genuinely impressive, even if the result looks like a motorcycle that's having an identity crisis. It's powered by an 847cc triple engine from the MT-09, producing 115 horsepower. That's proper performance, not just weird for the sake of being weird. The weight is 580 pounds, which is hefty, but the dual front wheels mean you can brake later and harder than any conventional motorcycle. Riders report it feels wrong at first, like your brain can't process what's happening. But once you get used to it, the extra front grip is apparently addictive. In the rain, it's supposedly brilliant. On dry roads, it's overkill. But Yamaha actually put this into production, and they're selling them right now. You can walk into a dealer and buy one. The future is weird, and it has 3 wheels that all lean together. Number 4, Bimota Tesi. The Italians looked at motorcycle front suspension and decided forks were too mainstream. The Bimota Tesi uses hub center steering, which makes it look like the front wheel is attached by magic and wishful thinking. Instead of telescopic forks, it has swing arms at both ends. The front swing arm connects to a steering mechanism that's more complex than the plot of Inception. The whole system is supposed to separate braking forces from suspension forces, which is very clever if you have a degree in mechanical engineering. For everyone else, it just looks weird. Really, really weird. The TC has been around in various forms since the early 90s, and Bimota keeps making them because apparently there's a market for motorcycles that look like they were designed by aliens. The latest version uses a Ducati engine producing 142 horsepower. The handling is supposedly incredible once you get your head around the fact that nothing moves the way you expect it to. The front end doesn't dive under braking. The steering feel is completely different from any normal motorcycle. Riders either love it or hate it, with no middle ground. The price is around $30,000, which is a lot for something that might rewire your understanding of how motorcycles work. But for those who get it, the Tesi is apparently transcendent. For everyone else, it's that weird bike that looks broken even when it's working perfectly. Number 3, Megola. In 1921, German engineers decided to put an engine inside the front wheel. Not near the front wheel, inside it. The Megola had a 5-cylinder radial engine built into the front wheel that rotated with the wheel as you rode. If that sounds insane, that's because it is. The engine was 640cc and produced 14 horsepower, which was decent for 1921. But here's the thing, it had no clutch and no gearbox. When the engine was running, the wheel was turning. To stop, you had to kill the engine. To start, you had to push the bike or put it on a stand and spin the front wheel by hand. The engineering challenges were mind-boggling. How do you get fuel to an engine that's spinning? How do you cool it? How do you maintain it? The Germans figured it all out, and it actually worked. They built about 2,000 of them. The bike could reach 60 miles per hour, which must have been terrifying with a spinning engine in the front wheel. The gyroscopic forces from the rotating engine made handling interesting, to put it mildly. Turning required planning ahead in a certain amount of faith. Modern collectors pay over $100,000 for surviving examples, which is a lot for a motorcycle that's basically a physics experiment that escaped from a laboratory. Riding one today requires special preparation and possibly a will, but it remains one of the most audacious engineering solutions in motorcycle history. Number 2. Whitlock Tinker Toy. Simon Whitlock wasn't satisfied with his 16-engine motorcycle, so he built one with 48 cylinders. Not 4.8, 48. The Tinker Toy has 6 banks of 8 cylinders, each one a tiny 2-stroke engine, all working together to create something that shouldn't exist but does. The total displacement is about 2,000 cn, spread across all those tiny cylinders. It produces roughly 100 horsepower, but horsepower isn't the point. The point is that someone built a motorcycle with 48 cylinders because they could. The engine looks like someone asked a pipe organ to become a motorcycle. The exhaust system alone has 48 individual pipes. The sound it makes is apparently indescribable, like a swarm of angry wasps learned to sing in harmony. Starting it requires a custom electric starter system because starting 48 engines would take until next Tuesday. The cooling system uses both air and liquid cooling, with radiators hidden everywhere they could fit them. The fuel system feeds 48 individual carburetors through a fuel injection system that would make NASA jealous. Whitlock spent 3 years building this thing. It's been featured in museums and motorcycle shows around the world, where people stand in front of it trying to count the cylinders and generally failing. It actually runs and rides, though apparently not for very long, before something needs adjustment. But when it's running, it's proof that engineering doesn't always have to make sense. Sometimes it just has to be awesome. Number 1. Dodge Tomahawk. And here we are, the number 1 weirdest motorcycle in the world, except it's not really a motorcycle. It's a Dodge Viper engine with wheels attached. The Tomahawk has a 500 horsepower, 8.3-liter V10 engine, the same engine from the Dodge Viper supercar, on something you're supposed to ride. The theoretical top speed is 420 miles per hour. Theoretical because nobody's been insane enough to try it. The Tomahawk has 4 wheels, but they're arranged in 2 pairs front and rear, so it still sort of looks like a motorcycle if you squint and have been drinking. Each wheel has its own independent suspension. The thing weighs 1,500 pounds. That's heavier than some cars. The price when Dodge showed it in 2003 was $550,000. They built 9 of them, not 9,000. 9. The riding position looks like you're hugging a nuclear reactor. The exhaust pipes exit right behind your legs, presumably to remind you that you're sitting on 500 horsepower of American insanity. It's not street legal anywhere. It's art. Violent, aggressive, completely impractical art. The bike doesn't lean to turn. The wheels sort of splay out, using the independent suspension to maintain stability. It's less like riding a motorcycle and more like being strapped to a barely controlled explosion. And that's why it's number 1. Because while every other bike on this list pushed boundaries, the Tomahawk demolished them, set them on fire, and then did a burnout on the ashes. And there you have it. That's 20 motorcycles that prove engineers sometimes have too much imagination and not enough supervision. From hubless wheels to 48 cylinders, from aircraft engines to wheels within wheels, these machines exist at the intersection of genius and insanity. Did any of these blow your mind? Which one would you actually dare to ride? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and while you're at it, tell us what weird motorcycles we missed. Trust me, in the world of custom bikes, there's always something weirder. If you enjoyed this journey through motorcycle madness, smash that like button and subscribe for more videos about the strangest vehicles ever created. Hit the notification bell too, because next week we're diving into cars that make these motorcycles look normal. Thanks for watching, and remember, just because you can build it doesn't mean you should, but we're really glad someone did.